Ladies and gentlemen, mark your calendars because now we have a date for when Donald Trump is allegedly supposed to be put back in office. Oh boy. So none other than Mike Pillow is going to discuss this this thing that he apparently pulled out of his ass. Take a look.
By the time we meet again next year, I'm going to stand on this bridge next year. And everything will be different, but it's going to be amazing. And I'm going to say these words. I told you last year, everybody, that God had his hand in all this, and we had to go through all of these things last year in order to get to this beautiful place. And everyone's going to go, wow, you're going to look back, and everything had to happen just the way it happened so we could unite as one people and be once again one nation under God. You know, and by this time next year, I'll be talking about how we're going to go after the teachers unions and the lawyers in this country, the ambulance chase lawyers and all this other stuff that's wrong that we can fix.
We're going to go after the unions, folks, because that's the real problem, the teachers unions. Wow. That's not even half the crazy that he said. But obviously, the big one. So yeah, August 13th. Just randomly pulling out numbers, are we? Again, there's a lot to break down here. In a part of the segment that I didn't get on video is that he had said, quote, Donald Trump won. I mean, it's pretty simple, okay? Are you sure? I mean, again, he didn't win. It's fairly obvious, and understand that this is kind of the equivalent. What's going on here between the people who don't believe that Biden won the election and the people who believe in objective reality? It's basically two 6-year-olds playing video games against each other. One loses and then says, "No, I didn't lose. You cheated." That's really it. That's really it. It's unbelievably pathetic and sad. Because again, they don't have evidence. They're just saying, "Nuh-uh." Argue against any, and I've had trolls come in here, and they're like, Donald Trump won. Okay, do you have any evidence? You're afraid. You're afraid that it's gonna, look at Arizona. Arizona's an absolute shit show and has absolutely no evidence. There's been nothing presented that is even close to resembling factual information. But again, it's the copium. It's exactly the copium. Now, he also said that the election result would change for down-ticket senators, but as we all well know, of course, there's no legal path, and of course, he's talking about the Great Replacement, right? Not the Great Replacement. Sorry, that's another theory that's insane on the right. The Great Reset. That's what it is, where we're just going to default back to back to previous, like before the election. And then we're not going to do a redo. We're just going to let Donald Trump take over and the Republicans in perpetuity. That's essentially what it is. Okay. Oh, great. Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, the thing is, what's going to happen when August 13 rolls around? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Again, and understand that, of course, Donald Trump's not going to be reinstated on the 13th. It's, insanity. It's shenanigans, right? I call shenanigans on that one because it's just not going to happen. It's not reality. But here's the thing. What Mike Pillow, and this is what I'm more interested in happening, in seeing what happens. What does Mike Pillow do? What do all these people do? My guess, they're going to move the goalposts. Because, of course, and they always do. They're like the doomsday occult people. They're not going to admit that they're wrong. He's not going to admit that he's wrong. He's going to go and say, oh, blah, 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 deep state, or whatever. Insert excuse here. But it's going to happen later. And there's going to be a reset. And at some point, he's just going to go, well, this time, yes, he didn't get back in office. He didn't get placed back to office. But 2024, that's what's going to happen. And then he's going to win the election in a landslide. And then when he doesn't, or if he doesn't, cross your fingers on that one. They're going to keep moving the goalposts. And that's really it. There's no reality here. And that's what's important. because people like Lindell understand that they're a lost cause. And so there's a couple of different types of people on the Trump side. There's the true believers like Mike Lindell. Now you could say, wait a minute, Mike Lindell's a grifter. Yes, but he also believes. So he believes and also wants to make money off of it. And so he's kind of like double dipping into the two different pools here. So yes, he's the true believer, and the true believer is the person that believes everything that they say. And so, you know, you go down to the Trump cultists, you know, the people that come into our, you know, into the chat, for example, and they, you know, and they come and they talk about how Donald Trump actually won the election, and you're just ignoring all the evidence, or you're hiding all the evidence, or whatever. And they'll show some shitty YouTube video or whatever of something that appears to be something shady, but actually isn't, because people have actually looked into it and realized that it's actually quite normal, or isn't what it's purported to be, or is deceptively edited by people who want to continue to spread the conspiracy, on and on and on. And that's kind of how this works, right? So there's the pool of the believers. And believe it or not, they can be swayed with actual evidence, because one of the big problems is the media that they're exposed to. So this one, I believe this came from Newsmax, though I'm not entirely sure. The Brandon House Show or something like that. I don't know. I can't even remember the guy's name, and I just saw the video like 2 minutes ago. Whatever. Newsmax, right-wing media, they're full of these people. And these are people that are part of the second pool, which are the grifters, which are the people that are getting ratings, which are the people that are getting clicks and likes, and most importantly, donations. And there's also business, of course, business interests that are involved too. And so, as I said, those are those two pools. And at some point, the people that are the true believers, at some point they have to face objective reality when they continue to get let down over and over and over and over again. And now, of course, there's a couple of things that might happen there. They might get even more radicalized, or get turned off, or in some cases go, ooh, wow, that was embarrassing. Turns out I was wrong. Oops. I got my face. Huh. You know, that's what happens. But again, Lindell, as I said, Lindell is a lost cause, because he's both. He has his entire business and his entire identity that are wrapped up in this disaster. And that's sad and unfortunate for him, but you know, drugs are a hell of a drug, and he's been huffing his own supply for quite some time, and that happens to be copium. So there you go. Now, that said, there's still time for other people. And by the way, I love how people come into the chat and they see me trash talking Trump, and they're like, well, Biden's terrible. Yeah, man. Yeah, dog. I agree with you. Like, yeah, Biden sucks. And that still doesn't mean Trump won. Don't be a moron. Objective reality. It's right in front of you. Anyway, if you don't want to see it, I mean, that's your own problem. But anyway, just like any cult, eventually you can wake people up from it. You could wake up the sheeple. Biden is actually president, as much as it sucks. Whatever. It is what it is. Now, he also said, by the way, in part of the video that I didn't see, he said that Biden will be pulled down and the communists will be routed. So that's funny, because some of the actual communists that I know are already too busy dunking on Biden for being crappy, for doing a terrible job. and of course, some of the other communists are defending China's horrible treatment of the Uyghur Muslims. And so that sucks. Not all of them, of course. Jamie Peck, formerly the Majority Report, is actually doing a pretty dope leftist podcast. And she's trying to get on The View to replace Meghan McCain. Wouldn't that be interesting? Coming at the members of The View from the left, from the actual left. Holy crap. That would be kind of amazing. But no, everything that Lindell said was utter garbage. He's a troubled man. He's got problems. He's no longer participating in objective reality. The entire replacement or whatever great reset theory is just not reality. Republicans, if you want to win, run better candidates. Run on better policy. And that's it. Run on policy that actually helps the working class. Right now, all Republicans do is funnel money to the rich. Deregulation, corporate tax cuts, giveaways to companies. That doesn't help the working class. It actually hurts the working class. It concentrates wealth at the top. You know what happens when you concentrate anything at the top, it becomes top heavy, it falls over. I don't really want that to happen to this country. But odds are Republicans are not going to take that advice. They're not going to run better candidates. They're going to go gerrymandering. They're going to talk about, they're going to go with voter suppression. They're going to do economic sabotage by making sure nothing gets passed other than through executive order, and then criticize Biden, of course, for doing too many executive orders. And so, the usual tricks, because they work for the rich. They work for the elite, because they are the elite. And now that's not to say that Democrats also don't work for the elite. They absolutely do. And that's why we need to get an actual progressive working class people into office. Imagine that. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.